Hello, hello, hello. How is everyone? Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Alicia Johnson, and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm very excited that you are here joining us once again for our nightly meeting, if you will, our nightly session. We come here every night from 8 a.m. till about 8:30 p.m. And that's for this 30-day process that we're going through. So if you have just found out about us, then welcome, welcome, welcome. If you want to just keep track of everything that we're doing here, please subscribe so that you can receive all of the notifications. And I am the creator of a community that is called the 1212 community. And that community is dedicated to helping everyone who chooses to learn how to recalibrate their lives 12 hours for God and 12 hours for man. And one of the tools that we use to do this work is we journal. And so this is where you have come. This is where you are meeting us now doing the journaling work that we are very, how can I put it, I guess, known for. And so we do these challenges 30 days at a time. And this challenge is forgiveness. And this is one of the tools that we use. This is almost like just my gift to the world, the gift of forgiveness. If you can get forgiveness under control, then you will change your life. And so this is one of the things that I want to share with as many people as possible. So share, share, share. Feel free to just, tell everyone about forgiveness because forgiveness is a life changer. And so we are now at day 14. So that means that we have 16 more days to go. So we will be here every Monday through Friday until we reach day 30. And so just go ahead, get comfortable, set your alarms, and just come and join us. And so you will be in good company with others who are moving through this process. And if by some chance you are just joining us and you want to catch up with the previous sessions, then all of the recordings are there on the wall or whatever you call it in YouTube land. But you can get all of the previous days 1 through 13. So feel free to dive into those. So we are here right now at day 14, and tonight we will be discussing forgiving yourself for praying too small. So, the assignment tonight is to reread your dedication so that you will remain pinpoint accurate in your journaling focus. You are worthy. Begin today to make a list of all the areas of your life you failed to ask heaven for exactly what you wanted because you felt you didn't deserve it. Why? Understand that if heaven gives you a desire to ask, then heaven is required to answer. Benefit. Knowing that heaven is implanting you with the exact questions to ask frees you from the responsibility of trying to determine your qualifications. Know that heaven knows exactly what needs to be done in order to prepare you to receive the blessing. Forgiving yourself for praying too small. This was one of the challenges that I faced early on in this process, and it was praying safe praying prayers that didn't require a whole lot of faith, prayers that did not require a great deal of effort, prayers that could be answered quickly. And if those prayers were not answered quickly, then I would just chalk it up to say that, oh, maybe I missed it. Maybe I misunderstood what God said, and I would just move on without any consequence. But as life began to evolve, as things began to really kind of fall apart, as things really began to look really, really bad in my life, this is when the big prayers started to form. And so, because my life was such a mess, the only thing that was going to get me out of this mess was a big focus, a big goal, a big prayer. And so this is when I started to really understand the power of praying big. And what God began to show me is that things were not happening in my life because I was not praying big enough. And by praying big enough, it means that you are willing to seriously ask heaven for everything that your heart desires. And what I mean by that is that heaven gives you the desires of your heart. Heaven gives you what you need to ask for. If heaven has deposited it within your spirit, if heaven has given you the desire to want it, to feel that it could be yours, then it can be yours. The problem, if you will, with big prayers is that big prayers are answered not in the order in which they are received. They are answered in the order in which you are ready to receive them. And this was something that I had to really understand is that a lot of the prayers that I had started to pray that were bigger were not being answered because I was not ready to receive the answered prayer. And this is hard for a lot of people to understand. And it sounds like I've been praying for this, 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 I've been praying for this. And if this is you and you're consistently saying that you're feeling that you're praying for the same thing over and over and over again, it doesn't mean that heaven hasn't heard you. It doesn't mean that heaven is ignoring you. It just means that you are not ready yet. Because if heaven has given you the desire to pray the prayer, that is an indicator that heaven is prepping you to receive the prayer. Answered prayer is not linear. Answered prayer is not a linear process. You don't ask the prayer at A and then you move to B, move to C, D, E, F, and the answered prayer is at G. Unfortunately, that is not how prayer works. Praying big prayers means that you have to grow into the mold of the prayer that you have prayed. You have to expand, you have to be reshaped, you have to be reconfigured to maximize the bigness of the prayer. When you learn to pray big prayers, you have to understand that prayer work or answered prayer work is messy. Answered prayer is messy. We have been given a very poor understanding of what answered prayer looks like. We have been given a poor understanding of the inner workings of heaven. Heaven is not concerned with how can I put it, the neatness of prayer. Heaven is not concerned with how comfortable you are with the prayer. When you and heaven come together in agreement that a prayer will be answered, put your seatbelt on, buckle up, and know that you are in for a ride. Because heaven is going to sift through everything, like almost like a roto-rooter or something. Heaven is going to sift through every aspect of your life and carve out and remove all of the things that are not in alignment with the answered prayer. So if you have asked heaven for a certain promotion in life, be it spiritually, mentally, or physically, and where you have asked heaven to take you, where you have asked heaven to move you, wherever you have asked heaven to move in your life, anything, nothing is off the table. Anything that is not in alignment with where heaven needs to take you, it will be addressed. I share this story a lot because I want people to enter into this work with their eyes wide open. And this is probably not a very good marketing tactic, if you will. It probably scares more people away than not, but only the serious need to apply, if you will. Because the inner workings of heaven, when you are going deeper into the work, heaven will not be mocked. Heaven is not doing things for the gram. Heaven is not doing things for the likes. Heaven is not doing things to go viral. Heaven is doing things to make the requested changes in your life so that you, in turn, can assist and take part in additional kingdom building activities. It is not for the weak of heart. It is not for the double minded. It is not for those that need approval. It is not for those who are seeking approval. Because unfortunately, 9 times out of 10, when heaven begins to do the work of answering the prayer, you're going to feel like you're going backwards. You're going to feel like you're losing instead of winning. You're going to feel like you're decreasing instead of increasing. And that is exactly what is happening. God is the best mathematician of all, but it's an upside down economy. So in God's economy, addition is subtraction and subtraction is addition. So when heaven starts to remove things from your life, be excited. Because subtraction here means addition in heaven. So heaven is removing things so that new things can be added. And this was something that I had to learn many years ago because when I began this work and I began this work in earnest and I began this work to do this work and I made a commitment like I am not going to stop until I see what the end is going to be. Whatever you have to do, God, whatever you have to do, I'm here for it all. That's a huge prayer to pray. Because when you say you're here for it all, a lot of us want to think that it is going to be all of the good stuff or all of the miraculous stuff or all of the prosperous stuff. But when you say I am here for it all, that means you are here for it all. The good, the bad, the indifferent. And the deeper that you go into the work, and this is why I constantly teach, the more solidified you become in the process, you begin to understand that things are not neither or no longer good nor bad. It's all part of the process. So I never at this point, I no longer label things. Oh, that's a good thing. Oh, that's a bad thing. Oh, that's a good thing. Oh, I don't know. We just have to wait and see. Because when you wait to see what the end is going to be and you go back and you reflect and you dissect and you review, you realize that a lot of times the things that you thought were bad were actually the best things that could have happened. And the things that you thought were great were really not that great. And this is why a lot of people get confused because they quit too soon. They quit too soon because they do not have a clear enough understanding of what it is that heaven wants to do. Don't be so arrogant in thinking that from the beginning you know how everything is supposed to pan out. What God began to show me was so much fun after, in hindsight. It wasn't fun going through it. Literally, literally, every single friend that I had, poof, disappeared. If you don't think that can crush somebody's ego, I don't know who you are. Every single friend, like absolutely no one was left in your corner, absolutely no one. And even the person that you thought was going to be there to the end. Like the person that, and the reason I thought this person would be there to the end is because we knew so much dirt on each other. It was one of those you had those friendships that are what are they called? Like you're under duress in the relationship, like you're just friends because it's like I got your dirt, you got my dirt, and whatever. So God was like, I gotta free you from this real quick so you can understand what this is and who this person is. And once all of that fell apart, then heaven will put you in a holding space. Like I lost all my friends, and then I was just there, like in a holding cell or something. Like I couldn't move forward and I couldn't move back. I was like, the relationships that were gone, that were gone. Like there was no going back. Like when God closes something, God closes that thing so good that you can't even tell where the opening is. You can't even tell, like, was there a doorknob here? Was there a door here? I don't even know what this is. In God's economy, gone is gone. Okay. These relationships were gone. And with each of those relationships, God revealed certain things that because I was blinded to the friendship and the concept of friendship, that I didn't want to see a lot of the things that heaven wanted to show me. Because I didn't want to take the full responsibility for the cracks in the relationship, or for the how can I put it, the lack of sincerity in the relationships. The relationships were not good. Just because you have years in does not mean it's a good relationship. I hear this all the time. This been my friend for 30 some years. Okay. 30 something productive years, 30 some years by default. Was this what happened? Why how is this so? Have you both grown? Are you, if you are in a friendship and that friendship still looks the same that it looked 30 years ago, both of y'all need to run. Both of y'all need to run. If your relationships are not challenging you, if your relationships are not forcing you to grow and to change and to see things differently and from a higher perspective and maximizing your full potential here on earth, if every year looks the same, you need to reconsider those relationships. You need to reconsider those relationships. Because we are here on earth to maximize the assignments that we're giving, and we need to be in an environment that is going to stretch us and mold us. What God began to show me with all of the previous friendships that I had is that we were just kind of on a hamster wheel. It was the same conversations. I promise you, if we were all still friends today, we probably all be talking about the same thing right now. The marriage, the relationship, the kids, the this, the that. No, my life is so much bigger than my marriage to Mike. Mike's life is so much bigger than his marriage to me. And because of that greatness independently, when we come together as a couple, that means exponential growth. This is why when you start to pray prayers, your prayers are going to require that you step outside of those perceived limitations, those perceived parameters. You're going to be able to, Mike and I, it's fun now. It wasn't fun in the beginning as God was kind of growing us up into this, but we like challenging each other now. Like we will do things that will challenge our way of thinking, or challenge the way Mr. Johnson is always challenging me, especially with this work. because I have a tendency, I can get into a space of doing the same thing. If it's working, it's working. I'm gonna do that. And Mike is constantly challenging me to try something different. This, y'all know, pay attention. This YouTube stuff. Y'all know this is not Alicia Johnson initially. Now, over the course of time, I will make it my own as I get more comfortable with it and as I get the flow down. But in and of myself, this would not have been my choice. And over the course of time, Mr. Johnson has continued to give me these ideas and continue to push me. And that's a good thing. But the thing is that prior to this, heaven had to prepare both of us to be in a space where we can challenge each other without getting angry with each other. At one point, if Mr. Johnson said anything to me that sounded negative, I would just be mad the whole week, the month, the 2 months, 3 months. He'd be like, "You still mad?" Yes. He would get mad at me too. I would say stuff. He would get mad with me if I challenged him. But the thing now is because heaven has grown us so much so because heaven has allowed us to learn how to pray bigger prayers, that one of my prayers is that heaven just allows me to maximize everything that I do. But in that maximizing process, I had to learn to get out of my own way. And by getting out of my own way, I have to learn how to renew my mind. I have to learn how to think differently. I have to learn how to grow. But in addition to that, God had to work with me and Mike on our relationship so that we matured enough to know that every disagreement did not lead to divorce. I am no longer afraid of getting Mr. Johnson mad and thinking he's going to walk out. It's just not going to happen. And he is no longer afraid to say things to me like I'm going to leave. Divorce is off the table. That ain't even an option anymore. Because we have grown beyond our perceived limitations. When you pray small, you always give yourself an escape route. When you pray too small, you can always see an exit ramp. When you pray too small, you can always see like the end of the process. Most people pray too small. See, if this happens, then I do this. And if this happens, then I do that. So there's always a plan A or plan B. Like you always have some options. But the bigger that you pray, your only way of escape is when heaven shows you where it is. Because the vision is so big, like you don't even know is that a tree? Is that a building? Is that a dinosaur? I don't even know what is that? I have no idea what that is. It's so the vision so big, it's so far out there. I can't I don't even know what that is. I had to learn how to pray big prayers for myself. I had to learn how to pray big prayers for my marriage. I had to learn how to pray big prayers for my children. I had to learn how to pray big prayers for my career. I had to learn how to pray big prayers for this work that we do. And the key to learning how to pray big prayers is that you learn to pray the prayer and then you learn to surrender and let it go. This is why I'm such a big proponent of radical obedience. Because when you pray big prayers, the only thing that is going to move you through the process is radically following the instructions that heaven gives you because you do not know enough of the vision to know which way you need to turn. I can always tell when people have prayed small prayers because they're confused. I don't know if I should do this or if I should do that. If you still have the option of deciding what you need to do, then the prayer is a little bit too small. When you pray a big enough prayer, all you hear is God say, wake up at 4 a.m. Okay, that's all I got. I ain't got nothing else. I don't know what else is going. All I know is that God has said, I have prayed that my marriage is healed. And I know that's a huge prayer because we ain't even speaking to each other right now. We ain't even talking to each other right now. We are literally roommates. So that was a huge prayer. A smaller prayer would have been like, God, just help us figure out this relationship. If we need a divorce, just go ahead. Just let us, go our separate ways. Let's go ahead. No other. I don't know any marriages who have been through this stuff that have made it. So we're probably just one of the statistics. Let's just go ahead and pursue the divorce. I could see that. I could see a divorce because that's the direction that we were headed in. A big prayer diverts your known destination. Like when you know your destination, it's no need to pray on that thing because you know which way it's going to go. A big prayer diverts the plan. A big prayer diverts the plan of the enemy. You know you haven't paid your bills on time. You know that the process servers are knocking on the door. You know that you have received the foreclosure papers. So let's just go ahead and follow the path of least resistance. Lord, just help us to get a good settlement. Help us to, do everything in a way that we maybe don't lose everything. But that's a small prayer. A big prayer is, God, this mess is jacked up. Like this is crazy. Like the house, the bills, the processor. But Lord, I'm going to pray that you deliver us from all of this. You turn all of this around. A prayer that big means that you have to surrender because everything in the natural is moving in the opposite direction. Everything is moving towards foreclosure. Everything is moving towards bankruptcy. Everything is moving towards financial destruction. It takes a big prayer to move you in the opposite direction. It took a big prayers for our son to turn everything around because that was crazy. Based on all of the meetings that we had, based on all of the people that we talked to, based on all of the experts, based on all of the professionals, based on all of those people, it did not look good for our son. It did not look good. It did not look good. A big prayer is like, God, show me who this child really is. Like, help me to see in the heavenly realms. And that's all I'm going to follow. That's all I'm going to follow. I don't care what's going on in the natural. And that, my friends, was a very hard fight. I'll never forget. This was early on. He was maybe third or fourth grade. And I sat down with one of his teachers. And the teacher was having a hard time because he was active. He was Well, I mean, little boys are just active anyway, but he was just active. He was just all over he was special. But when I sat down with the teacher, her immediate response is that maybe you just need to go to your doctor and get him some Ritalin. I was like, some what? I didn't even know what it was. I was like, are you suggesting that I put my child on drugs? She said, well, you're going to need something to calm him down. I said, no, you want something to calm him down. And she said, well, maybe they won't give him a whole prescription. Maybe he can just take half. I was like, what? It was either Ritalin or Adderall. It was something, one of those things. And now I've seen that. Y'all have probably seen the advertisements and all of that on social media, talking about people that were on Adderall and all of those things, how it affected them. These are older people now. These were people that were little kids at the time, that they were placed on Adderall and they were placed on all of this, and they were just talking about the side effects and what it's done to them physically and mentally. But see, you don't learn that stuff until years later. This is why your discernment is very necessary right where you are. You have to have that discernment. You have to know what it is that heaven needs you to know. Our son right now is one of the wisest and most compassionate people that I know. But he had to go through that process. He had to go through whatever it is that heaven needed him to go through in order to become who God needed him to be for the assignment that he has. Now, there are people that legitimately need different types of support, but this is where you have to have a very discerning spirit to understand the difference. This is why you cannot rely on small prayers. Heaven uses our words. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God. The Word was the creative force. Heaven uses words, and the enemy uses words as well. And it's very powerful when you begin to nurture your discernment, when you begin to recalibrate your hearing, you can literally hear who is speaking. Is it God or is it the enemy? Because everyone is a mouthpiece for one side or the other. Everyone. We have free will to choose who we serve. But once we have made that choice, the authority kicks in. So don't think that once you exercise your free will, that you are able to do whatever it is that you want to do. Your free will places you under either heaven's authority or the enemy's authority. But the power is that you get to choose. In choosing, the key is that you have to continually choose with each and every opportunity that crosses your path. When people begin to experience confusion and dysfunction in their lives, that's an indicator that you have chose from different realms. In my finances, I choose to go the world's route. In my spiritual life, I choose to go God's route. In my relationship, I'm going to go the world's route. In my parenting, I'm going to go God's route. You see, where a house divided amongst itself, it can't stand. So tonight, I challenge you to expand your prayer so much so that you allow heaven to boldly show you where you have used your free will to destroy aspects of your life. That's a very powerful prayer to pray. Because once you pray that prayer and heaven begins to reveal to you those areas, you have some choices to make. And when you begin to make those choices, you have to understand that those areas of your life will be addressed appropriately. And when those areas of your life are addressed, you have to be willing to surrender to allow heaven to do a complete work. Big prayers are not for the weak of heart. Big prayers require big change. A lot of times people do not want to pray big prayers because they are not willing to do the work that is required to see it through to fruition. So y'all have fun with this tonight. Y'all have fun with expanding those prayers. Have fun with understanding that heaven wants the best for you, the biggest for you, the most abundant for you, the most prosperous for you, not what the world tells you, but what God tells you. And when heaven says you can have it, you can have it. But are you willing to do the work? Are you willing to do the adjustments? Are you willing to make the effort to receive everything that comes your way or that should come your way? So y'all have fun with this one. And like I said, I'm not going to take it any easier on you than God did with me. And God and I, what's that little thing? Oh, we had a time last night. God and I, we had a time with this. We had a time with You will not go from 0 to 60 overnight. But you will, the needle will move. Changes will happen. But know that when the changes do start to happen, you can't go back. So you have to make your election sure. Every friend that I lost, heaven has replaced it with like people that are 3 times better, in my opinion. 4 times better, 10 times better, in my opinion. Spiritually, mentally, and physically. God has surrounded me with some of the most loving and generous people that I've ever experienced in my life. Only because God has required that I become one of those loving and generous people. Heaven is going to show you who you have to become in order to draw in the people that you want to be around you. God is not going to shortchange anyone because you don't want to change. Heaven is not going to bring generous people into your existence if you're stingy as everything. Heaven is not going to bring loving people into your existence if you're mean as a snake. Heaven is not going to compromise or minimize anyone so that you can feel big. It's a win-win in God's economy. So if you want the best for you, then you have to want the best for others. And that is my prayer for everyone who crosses my path. I pray that God loves on you so much so that your life will never be the same. So y'all have fun with this. I love you all. Tomorrow night, I didn't realize last night we have a new platform. So we'll be reaching out to the people who will join us tomorrow night on the day 15, and we'll give you instructions tomorrow. So if you can just reach out and just let me know if you can join us tomorrow night, we will give you all of that information so we can all be here together. So I think this platform is similar to like a Zoom type thing. So we'll all have our little squares or whatever, but we're a work in progress. We're figuring this out as we go along. So we'll have fun with it as we go. But just let me know if you're able to join us. I would love to have you. Until then, sweet dreams. I love you all, and I will see y'all tomorrow. Have a good one.